Hello everyone, I'm Naval Yemul. Welcome to my YouTube channel, The Data Master. In this video, I'm going to explain you how to crack the Databricks Certified Data Engineering Associate exam. So we'll talk about the exam, we'll talk about the certification, and we'll talk how to prepare for the exam also. So recently I have cleared with 95%. So let me explain you about the learning path. So Databricks Associate comes with five different topics. One is Databricks Lakehouse Platform, which is having a 24% as a weightage. So in total there are 45 questions. So 11 questions can be asked from the Databricks Lakehouse Platform. Then on the ELT part, that is extract, load and transform with Spark SQL or Python, it carries a weightage of 29 to 30%. Approximately 13 to 14 questions can be seen on this point. Second is incremental data processing, like your streaming data, your autoloader, and so on. The weightage for this is around 22%. 10 questions can be seen from this. And production pipelines, like your Databricks SQL and your DLT, Delta Live tables, and the topics can be covered. And the questions can be seen around 7 to 8 on this one. And the data governance, like if you want to give a permission to any of the object, how you can give a permission, how you can grant, and how you can revoke. So 3 to 4 questions can be seen on this. So you can find this all easily on the Databricks website. So let me give you the link on that and show you how it looks. So I have already created one video on this. So you can see Databricks certification and batching. So you can click on this video to see how the, yeah, you can see here. So I have explained all about the certification and badging of Databricks in this video. So you can just look into this video. I'll leave a description on this. And you can see this is the same website. I'll give you the link for this also. So I am going to cover on data engineering side on associate. So if you click on this associate level or click on learn more, and if you scroll down, so you can see I have picked up these points from here. So there are in total 45 questions covered in 5 different topics. So what I'm planning to do is I'm going to cover each and every topic. So in this video, part 1, we are going to cover Databricks Lakehouse Platform. So let us proceed further. So when it comes to Databricks Lakehouse Platform, so before we go further, we need to know what do you mean by Lakehouse. So I have 2 videos on that lakehouse and the internals of the lakehouse. So if you have not gone through it, I request you to strongly recommend you to watch those 2 videos. So I'll leave a link for that videos. So you can see here, one is all about the Delta Lake or the Databricks Lakehouse, and the second video is the internals of the Delta Lake or the lakehouse. So I strongly recommend you to watch these 2 videos and then come to the exam preparation. So that will really help you a lot. So in a simple language, I can say that lakehouse is nothing but it is a combination of both. It brings data warehouse and it brings data lake together. So there are certain limitations in data warehouse and there are certain limitations in data lake. So lakehouse comes with the combination of these two, and they have pulled out the good points or the strong points from these two, and they have built a lakehouse platform. So I strongly recommend you to watch those videos before you start this preparation. So the first question can be asked on the Databricks architecture, like how it is. So which of the following location hosts the Databricks web application? So to answer these questions, there will be 2 questions compulsory from this Databricks architecture. So to know that, you need to know like how the Databricks Lakehouse platform is designed. So there are 2 panes here. One is control pane and one is data plane. So control plane is the Databricks account. So what the Databricks people holds all the data, that is called as a control pane. So they have web UI, that is website user interface, the cluster management. So whatever the clusters we are going to set up, all that management goes to Databricks, and workflows, that is jobs, Delta Live tables, and the notebooks, all will be taken care by the Databricks account. Then when it comes to data plane, that is customer cloud account. So cloud account, it can be your Azure account, or it can be your AWS account, or it can be your GCP account. This is your account, like a consumer or the owner. So that is called as a data plane. So they will have a cluster, that is cluster virtual machines. So you get confused here. Like cluster management is different, cluster virtual machines are different. Like in this cluster virtual machines, we have one driver node and different worker nodes and so on. And you will have a storage, that is a DBFS in the data plane. So by looking at this question, you should be familiar with this control plane and data plane. So they're asking about the Databricks web application. So web application is inside the control plane. So you get answer as a control plane. So they confuse you with the different names like Databricks managed cluster or customer cloud account and so on. But the answer clearly says that web application lies in the control plane. So let us look at the same question here in the second question. So which of the following is hosted completely in the control plane? So completely in the control plane. So they are talking about the control plane. So it can be any of this. By looking at the options, you can understand that uh, worker node, JDBC, Databricks web application. It clearly says that Databricks web application lies in the control plane. So first question was they asked about the web application and they asked in which plane it is, and now they are asking about control plane and what is there inside the control plane. So these are the two questions. Coming to the next question, yeah, this is also same. So it is stating that according to the Databricks Lakehouse architecture, which of the following is located in the customer's cloud account? So they may give you data plane here, or they may give you customer cloud account here, anything. So you need to be very careful here. So Databricks web application comes in the control plane, notebook comes in the control plane, repos is nothing, like we are not talking about repos, workflows comes into control plane. The only option left is cluster virtual machines, that comes into the data plane. So you can easily take the fourth option according to this. Coming to the next point, yeah, so these questions are based on the Databricks Lakehouse. So obviously we are covering the first topic. In first we have a sub topics, like first is on the architecture, now we are moving towards the Databricks Lakehouse. So here, when it comes to Databricks Lakehouse, I told you like it is a combination of both data warehouse plus data lake. So in data warehouse, we could not store a semi-structured and unstructured data. And when it comes to data lake, it doesn't have a strong ACID properties support. So when it comes to Databricks, it handles both structured, semi-structured, unstructured, even streaming also. Lakehouse can handle the streaming data also. And Lakehouse has a very good support for the ACID properties. So taking into this consideration, so you can see best describes the Lakehouse, Databricks Lakehouse. It is single, flexible, high performance system that supports data analytics and machine learning workloads. So Databricks Lakehouse supports all data as well as analytics and also machine learning. So if you look at any other option, it may not be relevant. So reliable data management system with the transactional guarantee of structured data. They are talking only about the structured data, and they're talking about reducing the cost, and they are talking about developing increasingly complex machine learning and platform that scales data lake workloads for organization without investing on premises hardware. So they may confuse about this, but the answer clearly says that it is a single and flexible high performance system that supports data analytics, machine learning and data engineering workloads together. So answer is A. Next question, which of the following benefits of using the Databricks Lakehouse is provided by the Delta Lake? So they are talking about the Delta Lake now. Just now I told you when it comes to Lakehouse, it handles both batch as well as streaming. So this answer is the right choice. If you look at any other option, so you might feel that the ability to collaborate in real time on a single notebook, this is a wrong one. They will confuse you. But when it comes to the Lakehouse, you have to be sure that it handles both structured and the streaming workloads. So the answer is fifth one here. Now, this question is important. They will confuse a lot in this. So, which of the following data lakehouse features result in improved data quality? So, they are talking about the data quality over the traditional data lake. So, this keyword is very important. They are talking something on data lake. So, you may see the question in real exam. They may ask you about the data warehouse also. So they might confuse you between data lake and data warehouse. So data lakehouse is obviously having a good feature when you compare to data lake and data warehouse. But in this sixth question, they are asking about the features that can be improved with the over a traditional data lake. So as I have told you, when it comes to data lake, it doesn't have a strong support for asset transactions. So whereas Lakehouse has overcome that, and now Lakehouse has a good support for a asset transaction. So the answers clearly states that the Lakehouse supports the asset compliant transactions, whereas others cannot. In the similar question, instead of data lake, if they have a data warehouse, here the answer would be different. The answer would be structured and unstructured data, because data warehouse doesn't handle or doesn't ingest the unstructured data, whereas lakehouse can handle. So you need to be very careful about this keyword. So here actually the answer is B, not A. Yeah, so actually the answer is the asset compliant transaction. You need to remember the keyword of data lake. Instead of data lake, if it is data warehouse here, the answer would be structured and unstructured data. Okay, I hope this is clear to you. Let us move further. So now there is a scenario based question here. A data organization leader is upset about the data analysis team's report being different from the data engineering team. So there are two teams. One is data analysis and there is a data engineering team. And the data organization leader is upset and saying that the report is different from both of this. So the leader believes that the siloed nature of the organization's data engineering and data analysis architecture is to blame. Which of the following describes how the lakehouse would elevate this issue? So, it when it comes to Databricks Lakehouse platform, it works like both the team can work together. Like if you are a data engineering, data analyst, or machine learning, any team, they can work together. So if the data engineer is creating a database and if is creating a tables inside that, so it like data analyst and machine learning can all people can also use that without any like chaos. So here the question states that they have a like they are upset that their report is been different from data analysis and data engineering. So how the Databricks Lakehouse can elevate this issue? Actually, both the team would use the same source of truth of their work. So this is the correct answer for the question. Let us move forward. Yeah. So which of the following describes the storage organization of the Delta Lake? So when you talk about the lake house, so I'll just give you a short introduction on this. When you talk about the lake house, so it combines both data warehouse and data lake. And in that, when you are creating a when you are creating a table or if you're creating a file inside that, so it will create certain collection of files. It will create certain collection of files and those files are in a Parquet format. There is a Parquet file created and there are some delta logs created inside that. So each and every transaction that is happening on the table that are like recorded in this Parquet file as a Parquet file also and as a delta log also. So I request you to watch that internals of the delta video to get a clear understanding on this. So now let us come to this question. Which of the following describes the storage organization of the delta table? So delta table are stored in the collection of files. So this is what I'm trying to explain. It is not a single file, it is a collection of files. But in that collection of files that contains the data, it contains the history and it contains the metadata and all other attributes. So you look at that video, you can clearly understand this. So delta tables are always stored in the collection of files and that contains data, history, metadata and all those things. So the answer is C here. Let us proceed further now. Yeah, this is simple here. If the default notebook language is SQL, which of the following options of a data engineer can use to run a Python code in is SQL Notebook? So if you have been working on the Databricks here, it is very simple. Let me show you. I have opened the notebook now. Suppose I am working on the Python. They are saying that if you have a default as a SQL code, here you can see default language as a SQL, and if you want to use a Python code in this SQL notebook, so you can use a magic command called %python to convert this cell to Python. Here you can see convert this cell to Python. Yeah, you can see convert this SQL notebook to Python cell. So this is what they are trying to say you. So you can add %python at the start of the cell. So the answer is E in this case. Easy. Let us move forward now. Yeah. So just now I explained you in a delta table or delta lake table, which are the following primary format for the data files. This is also important here. They might confuse you here. They might ask you sometimes what is the primary format of the data files, or they might ask you like which is the following is the primary format for the transaction logs, or file format for the delta logs. They might ask you in this way. Okay, so when it comes to primary format, it is a Parquet file. I request you and recommend you to watch that videos. So if you create a table, there will be a Parquet file created, and there will be a delta logs created. Delta logs are created. In this delta logs, there will be a JSON files and there will be CRC files. So if they are asking about the delta logs, it is in the format of JSON. But if they are asking you the primary format, it is a Parquet. So you need to be very careful at this question. Compulsory you get this question, but you need to look at the keyword here. If they are saying the delta logs or transaction logs, it is in the JSON format. And if they are saying the primary format, it is a Parquet format. So the answer is B here. Let us move forward. Now, so let me explain this. You have creating a table, so it will be in the Parquet format. So whatever transactions is happening on that table, it may be insert, it may be update, it may be delete, it may be merge, anything. All these transactions will create a new Parquet file, and respective JSONs and CRC file are created inside the delta log. So let us imagine that you are dealing with millions of files. So you have 1+ million records that need to be inserted, and you are doing some updates and inserts and so on. So try to imagine that millions of Parquet files and millions of JSONs and CSS will be created. Then we are talking about the optimization. So how to optimize this? So this question states the same thing. So which of the following command can data engineer use to compact the small data files of the delta table into larger ones? So let us imagine that you have created a table. So I'll just write a create table statement, create table with column names and so on. So one Parquet file will be created. No, there will be no Parquet file. There are delta logs created for this. And I have inserted one record. So one Parquet file will be created. I have inserted second record, third record, fourth record. Then I have deleted something. So when I insert the records, there will be four Parquet files because I have inserted four statements, and now I have deleted. Suppose I have deleted ID equal to 1, employee ID equal to 1. So this Parquet file don't get deleted. It don't get deleted because like, this is the feature of Lakehouse. You can do a time travel in this. Time travel is you can just go back and see what are the records you have inserted, what are the records you were working on. So you can do that time travel with this delta, with this Lakehouse. So that is the key feature of that. So these files don't get deleted. It remains there only. And uh, just imagine that you have millions of records inserting, and there are very small files. So there is one option called optimize. So if you run a code called optimize table name, all these files will be like all the smaller files will be compacted into one large file. So you can do that, compacting small data files into the larger one by using optimize. And if you if I come to this explanation, so if I'm saying that okay, if I delete also, your parquet files don't get delete. The reason being here is if you want to do a time travel, because of the time travel your parquet files don't get delete. Now you might think like, okay, I have million records. In that million records I have deleted thousands of files. Then are these 1,000 parquet files get deleted? No, it won't get delete, it remains there only because we are going to do a time travel. Now you might think like, I have done the changes inside a table and I want to delete that permanently. So you can do that with the help of a command called vacuum. So when you run a vacuum command, so these files generally don't get delete. The reason is when you run a vacuum command, just you say vacuum and table name. So once you run this, all these unused files, so I'm talking about million records, I mean million times you have done some transaction, there will be millions of parquet files. In that I have deleted thousands of parquet files. So this, when you run a vacuum command, this don't get delete. The reason is there is a retention period for this. Once you run a vacuum command, your files remain there for 7 days. Your file remains there for 7 days. After 7 days they get delete. After 7 days they get delete. But if you say that no, you want to delete at the same time, if you want to delete at the same moment, you can delete that. You need to set a retention period to 0. Once you set the retention period to 0, then this unused parquet files will be deleted. So that is about the vacuum. So I'm talking about the vacuum now. So we may see the questions based on this vacuum in the next slide. So let me proceed further. Yeah, you can read this question. A data engineer realized that they made a mistake when making a daily updates to a table. They need to use a delta time travel. So I'm talking about delta time travel. You can do this when you have the files inside your like storage account. If you have the logs and if you have those parquet files, you can do the time travel to restore the table to the version that is 3 days old. However, when the data engineer attempts to do the time travel, so you can do time travel easily, like the syntax is select, you can do whatever columns you want from table name, and you can just say version as of 1. So you can get this version as of 1, as of 2, as of 20, and so on. So when the data engineer trying to write this code, they are unable to restore. They are unable to restore the data because the data files have been deleted. So you can see it has been deleted. So just now I have explained you why how it is deleted. If you run a vacuum command, it gets deleted. Which of the following explains why the data files are no longer present? So it clearly says that the vacuum command was run on the table. So answer is A. Uh, Yeah, next question. So which of the following statement is not true about the Delta Lake? So Delta Lake, it has a strong support for ACID transaction. It is true. They are saying not true. And here the keyword is also very important. Sometimes they may confuse you with true or not true and so on. And data lake provides you scalable data and metadata handling. Yes, this is also true. Delta Lake provides the audit history and time travel. That is also true. Delta Lake supports unified streaming and batch. I explained about this streaming and batch. This is also true. Which is not true is it holds the file format like Parquet plus JSON, but not XML. So this is false. This is not true. So the correct option for this answer is D. That is not true. Parquet plus XML is not true. Now, let us move to the next question. A data engineer is trying to use a delta time travel to roll back a table. So you want to do a time travel. but a data engineer received an error that the files are no longer present. So we have already covered this. So it is again a vacuum. So it is a vacuum actually. Don't look at this. So there are no longer present. So which of the command was run on a table? It is a vacuum. Yeah, this is important. How long is the default retention period for the vacuum command? So just now I explained you, it is 7 days or 168 hours. So it may be 7 days or it may be 168 hours. They might ask you in days only. Yeah. So this was about the data lake and the fundamentals of that with architecture and the advanced topics like optimize and vacuum. So the next topic is on the Databricks repos. So before we proceed with this, I want to show you the documentation regarding this. So this is a Git integration with Databricks. I will give you the link for this. So you need to be very careful on this. You may get two questions here. I request you to do the hands-on on this. If you do the hands-on, definitely you will like get a clear understanding on Databricks repos. In community edition, we do not have a Databricks repos option. If you are using an AWS Databricks or if you are using an Azure Databricks, you can do the hands-on. So, but I'll explain you the theory part here. So what you can do with Databricks repos and what you can do with the Git provider. So with Databricks repos, you can do some Git functionality. That is, you can clone, you can push the code to the Git, or you can pull it from the remote Git, and you can create a and manage the branches in the Databricks repos. Create notebook, obviously you can do that. Visually compare the difference upon the commit, you can do that. So visually we commit and push the code to the Git, and we can create and manage the branches and so on. But when it comes to Git provider, what does the Git provider do? So obviously you can create a pull request, and it can resolve the merge conflicts. The Git provider merge or delete the branches, and the Git provider can rebase a branch. So these are the things what Databricks repos can do and what the Git provider can do. So now coming to the question, in Databricks repos, so you can see Databricks repos, so that I'm talking about Databricks repos here. Which of the following operation a data engineer can use to update the local version of the repos from its remote Git repository? So you can see here what you want to update the local version of the repos from its Git repository. So there is some updated version in the Git repository, and they want to see that in the Databricks repos. So obviously the answer will be like you need to pull that from the Git repository. So the answer would be E here. In this case, it is pull. Next question. So which of the following task is not supported by Databricks repos? Not supported by Databricks repos. So try to understand this. Not supported by Databricks repos and must be performed in the data Git provider. So we need to look at this Git provider and what he can do. So clone can be done in the Databricks repository. Create and manage branches can be done in the same Databricks repository. Create notebooks can be done here. Visually compare can be done here. The only thing that is not done in the Databricks repos is merge, delete, and rebase the branch. So the answer is E here. Let us move to the next question. So which of the following Git operations must be performed outside the Databricks repos? So they are talking about Git operations that must be performed outside the outside the Databricks repos. So outside the Databricks repos means they are talking about the Git provider. So the answer is here merge. So you can see here in Git provider we can merge the branches. So the answer is merge. Now moving forward, a data engineer needs to determine whether to use inbuilt Databricks notebook versioning. So when it comes to versioning, Databricks provides notebook versioning. You can see, I'll show you here. You can click on this version history, so you get all the version history here. But this is a legacy feature. Now no one is using this. They are recommending to use a repos. I am using a community edition, so I do not get a repos here. You can check out on Azure Databricks or AWS Databricks. So which of the following is an advantage of using a Databricks repos over the Databricks notebook versioning? So when you are using a notebook versioning, you cannot do a you cannot have a support for the multiple branches, but whereas Databricks repos has a support for the multiple branches. So the answer is B here. So this was about the questions on the Lakehouse first point. Let me just go through it. So I covered the Databricks Lakehouse platform. So 11 questions can be seen in exam. So I've covered 19 to 20 questions on this. If you like this video, guys, so please support me. You can just drop a comment so that I can get motivated to do the further videos on this topics. So please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and I request you to please share it with your friends also. Thank you everyone. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the session. If you have any doubt, any question, you can just drop it on the comment box and I'm happy to help you. Thank you guys. Thank you. Keep learning.